do we really want to get better? And I think that's a question that needs to be asked if you're in a chronic state of repeating the same types of lessons over and over. Is, do you really want to get better, or are you addicted to the drama? Are you addicted to something that you're not willing to sacrifice in order to get better? Typically, you're not willing to sacrifice something. And if you want to elevate or if you want to get better in life, you really do need to want and have a desire first. And then kind of something that came right up after that was make sure to ask some really good questions. You don't have to ask anybody, but you have to come up with some good questions on what you want life to show you. So for me right now, I want to see magic. I just want to feel like I'm connected. I want to feel really good. I just want to see that aspect of us as humans, that we do have the ability to create and attract really awesome things and have that synchronicity. And I want to see that. So how do I? And just pondering that question led me to some little YouTube clip that I had seen this guy talking forever. But for some reason, that very day, I just hit the button and it came up something about brain waves and synchronizing. And that actually was something that was really beneficial to me at that point. So I definitely think you have to ask good questions. And that is kind of a really good way to be on your journey, is asking questions that you want to see, if you want to see how strong you are, and keeping the intention on what you want in the future versus what you've been dealing with in the past. A lot of the times with anxiety or when we go through something chronic, we become very problem focused, and where you're looking at what's wrong, what's wrong with life, what's wrong with me, what bad things just happened in the past. And really, you have to process, but you also have to move forward. Moving forward with a purpose is very functional, and it's a very good way to get out of your past. But you have to be solution focused instead of problem focused. And a lot of that is because of the law of attraction, which is a law I've had a real love-hate with, because I think a lot of us that learn about the law of attraction try to manipulate it and use the law of attraction for materialistic things or for things that our personality might want, our ego might want. We don't always get those things. It's kind of disillusioning to have this thing that says, if you believe or think anything, you can have it. Well, that's not necessarily true. So the law of attraction, I have one of the biggest realizations that I had about that law is that my soul and what my soul wants trumps my personality. Meaning my ego and my personality might want things that if my soul needs something more, my soul's going to be attracting those things versus my personality. So if being rich and wealthy isn't what my soul needs in order to learn this lesson at this particular time, the law of attraction and trying to attract that in my life might not happen in the way that I want it to. So when you use the law of attraction, really try to use it for a deeper way than what we have been using it, which is, oh, I want a parking spot, or I want a boyfriend, or I want things out of just a lack of. So that kind of goes along the lines also of how we try to manipulate our future. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Manipulating synchronicity, which is where we try to force synchronicity to happen versus kind of more of a passive. And so putting in an order about what I want to see or I want to experience in my future. And then kind of sitting back and focusing on what I need to be doing right in the here and now. And having a trust that these things are going to come to me in the ways that they need to come to me. I think when we try to define the ways that we need it to come to us or be really specific, we can actually block a lot of the magic from happening and a lot of the ease of it happening because we try to put ourselves in there and try to control it. And the magical thing is we don't really have to do that. We can just put it out there, and if it's something that is good for us and that we need to learn or experience, it will happen. So that's definitely one of the big things that's been happening in the last week. One of the ways I did this early on was when it came to different types of people, having a notion of where my information is going to come from. So what this person is supposed to look like, or that I will only listen to a really wise person. Well, then I had somebody that I wouldn't consider very wise say something really profound to me. And it stayed with me for like a week. And it really helped me open my eyes to you can get information from anywhere. And in fact, the more open you are to hearing the information that's answering the questions that you've been pondering, that's how you know that you're getting the right information, is really interesting. So I like a particular style of music, but a lot of what comes up is not a song that I would necessarily listen to, but I YouTube it and I listen to the lyrics, and the lyrics are very profound. And so I kind of adopt that song for a while. And again, I don't want to narrow down the way that I need to have this information, because it narrows down the amount of information that I'm going to get. And you just start to see the patterns. So you really look for patterns. My brother once told me that, well, I had this book, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. It's a very good book. And I was telling my brother about it over lunch, and he's like, "You're the third person that's told me to read that book. Have you read the book, bro?" No, I haven't. So, but that's the thing. He heard it from like 3 or 4 different people. These are coincidences, but are they really just coincidences? And if you have the same information that's being repeated, it is worth taking a moment to daydream about it and to ponder it and to think about it, or go read the book or take the class. If everybody's telling you that you should do some yoga, maybe you should just take one step and do some yoga. So it's funny. We can have people tell us the answers and they can go right over our head because we weren't really looking, or we weren't really open. And that's one of the things with Eckhart Tolle that he talks about a lot, which is being present. Yoga is a really good way to retrain the entire body on how to be present and engaged in the moment while you're moving your body. Being present is how we make sure that we're able to gather as much information in the moment as possible. Our brain filters out millions of pieces of information. I don't really like that, because what is it filtering out that I need to know that it's just decided I don't need to know right now? And typically it's actually a lot, because I'll come home and I'll start thinking about a situation I was in. I'm able to gather a lot more information than I was at that moment. Really being present and aware is probably one of the key components to living an elevated life, because even if you have a lot of anxiety, if you can retrain yourself to be present in the moment, you're not focusing on a future or a past that isn't existing right now. You're focusing on right now, which is what's happening. How are you feeling? Especially when it comes to safety. So if you have a lot of safety concerns and you're on an anxiety loop of worrying about your safety, I did a lot of sitting on that feeling and in the moment. Is there something hurting me right now? Is something attacking me? And really having to go back over a lot of those feelings and just telling my body, they might be irrational beliefs or irrational thoughts, but they're there. So tending to them is a good thing. Caring about them is caring about yourself, which we need to do a lot more of. That is not selfish, to care about yourself and to put yourself first as far as your boundaries and your needs over somebody else's, because nobody's going to care about you more than you should care about yourself. That's another thing with boundaries too, is really the people that are outside of you that are having relationships with you tell you about the relationship that you have with yourself. And it doesn't have to be wrong or right, but it has a lot of information that you can look at. And again, they're kind of metaphors for the bigger picture and the things that are going on with yourself. I've done that a lot more lately, is just everything that I'm seeing is just for me. So interpersonal relationships with my children or with my family members, I'm not taking those things personally as much as I am, why am I seeing this right now? And do I do this? What is this inside of me? And maybe I'm being shown this so that I do not do these things, versus I'm going to judge you and talk about you and criticize you because of what you're doing to me. It's this person is showing me this for a reason. They're teaching me a boundary. Thank you. Because really, somebody has to cross my boundary in order for me to know that's a boundary and I need to learn how to enforce it. Or what happens when somebody else does it? You come up with a plan. definitely have a plan with boundaries. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you can see more and get the notifications as well.